Hello everyone, today we'll talk about a new poet, Li Shangyin, and one of his poems, 无题, no title or no name. Li Shangyin, perhaps you have never heard of his name as a foreigner. Anyhow, he was the most praised, admired, adored poet in the history. Through the dynasties of the Chinese history, the intellectuals all regarded him as the most valued and most creative and the greatest poet. And till today, when you talk about someone who is fond of the literature and arts, we call this group of people 文青, the use of the literature. They also take the same view, they share the same view. Anyhow, as the average Chinese, we know Li Shangyin and some of his poems, and also we know a lot of best sentences by Li Shangyin. But that's all. 无题，李商隐。昨夜星辰昨夜风，画楼西畔桂堂东。身无彩凤双飞翼，心有灵犀一点通。隔座送钩春酒暖，分曹射覆蜡灯红。嗟余听鼓应官去，走马兰台类转蓬。无题。So the name or the title of this poem is no title, no name. This is different because the classic Chinese poet, when it was written, there's no name at all, and seldom has name which is given by the poet. And later on, the people, the readers or the other poets, they will pick up the first phrases of the poem, or maybe some very famous phrase in the poem to be the title of the poem. So the name normally is not by the poet himself who writes the poem. And Li Shangyin write this poem with no name as usual, but he write down no title, no name at the place of the poem's title. So he gave this poet a name. The name is no title or no name. So this is quite different. This is like the modern artist. They like to give their painting name as no title, no name, because their painting is full of abstract image or ideas. So Li Shangyin is him a very modern mind who lived 1,200 years ago from today. 昨夜星辰昨夜风. So last night there's wind, and the 昨夜星辰, it means the stars shines last night. So this first sentence actually is telling the situation and weather of the last night, and it's pointed out this happens last night. 画堂西畔桂堂东. So at the place of the west side of Huatang and the east side of the 桂楼. Huatang, 桂楼 both refers to the very luxury big house. The 画楼 actually refers to in the surface, it refers to the building was painted magnificently, very well. And the 桂楼 in the surface means the building was made of the very expensive wood, Katsuragi wood. So it's both actually telling you the big house is very luxury, nice house. And so the first sentence telling you when something happened, and the second sentence tell you where it happened. And let's see what's happened actually. 身无彩凤双飞翼，心有灵犀一点通。So I'm as an average person, I don't have the wings of the colorful phoenix. The phoenix is a lucky bird in Chinese culture. 心有灵犀一点通. So in my heart, which means in my mind, the heart is the mind in Chinese thinking, the way of thinking. So in my heart, I have the rhino's horn. With the rhino's horn in my heart, we can feel each other inspiration with ease, or totally, we can feel each other totally, even without talking, without touching, without any other interactions, because of the rhino horse, which is believed to be extremely sensitive and which can feel the surroundings or feel the other's minds quite easily with no problem. So that's the Chinese old story. Two sentences are the key in this poem. And the first sentence, 身无彩凤双飞翼, the key is not the phoenix bird. The key is the 双飞翼. Actually, he's talking about the 双飞翼. It's another type of bird in the Chinese legend, or which is not a real bird. The 双飞翼, the bird of 双飞翼, is female and male. They only share one wing, so they always together. It's just like a couple, the husband and wife. It refers to the very good marriage, like the bird. The couple is always together until their death. And the second paragraph is describe the very delicate situation that the two persons, they can feel each other like resonance, with nothing, without speech, without interactions, but they know each other by their native instinct, 心有灵犀, because they have the rhino's horn. So these two sentences also the best sentence in 1,000 years, and we still use 心有灵犀 quite often in modern literature, or even in daily talks. We have the first half of the poem already. We know the place, we know the time, and we know the situation, the feelings. Anyhow, we don't know actually what happened. So let's see. 隔座送钩春酒暖，分曹射覆蜡灯红。隔座, the people sitting beside me. 送钩春酒暖. 送钩 is a kind of game, it's a guessing game. It's played on the dining tables to make each other to drink wines. If you lose, you drink. 春酒暖, so it also refers to the game they are playing. It's about the drinkings. And the 春酒 also gave a more accurate timing. It's sort of the springtime. 分曹射覆蜡灯红. 分曹 means we make groups. So there's a lot of people. and you can see it's a big dining event. So we need to group people in different groups. 射覆 is another kind of the gambling games, and also it's a part of the drinking event. So you gambled, you win, you make others drink. So the more you win, you make others drink, and the more you lose, you drink more. 射覆 is like they put something under a bowl and you guess something under the bowl, maybe the quantity or maybe the things or the status under the bowls. So 覆 is just covered. It refers to the bowl cover something between underneath. 蜡灯红, it also has described the situation, the place, the big red candles. It's light until the very late night, make the atmosphere more great and very warm. Now we know it's a big drinking event, a big dinner, with a lot of people in the luxury house in nice weather until the very late time. But what for? We still don't know. Let's go on. 嗟余听鼓应官去，走马兰台类转蓬. So now we have the simple words. 嗟余 means so we signed at the last. Maybe because of the event so long, everybody's getting tired, or maybe something others. You have the inspirations with someone on the table, but you cannot get into with him or with her. So you signed. We don't know why he signed here. So after sign, and we hear the drum, the sound of the drum, which is let's at the bell, which means it's a time to go to the court, go to your office. 上应官 means it's the time you should go to your office. 走马兰台类转蓬. 走马, so I riding my horse to the place. 兰台 is another name for the department of the secretary. So here you know the poet is working in the central government, the department of the secretary. 类转蓬, so I'm riding the horse to my office, to the department of secretary. Just like the grass. The 转蓬 is a sort of grass, but this grass normally only appears in the contemporary poems, in the early Tang, in the middle Tang, in the prosperous Tang's time, because there's so many conquering wars happened, and a lot of poets they write about the conquering, the wars. And in the north and west frontiers, the Gobi, the desert, there's so many sort of the grass, the grass. It's just like a well. When the wind blows, the grass rolling over from here to there, to here. So just when the winds blows, it rolling over. So 转 is rolling over. So it's 转蓬 also refers to that grass. So the last two sentences actually, we know all this bunch of people, they are the clerks in the central government, and also, of course, there's a lot of the beautiful girls in the restaurant or in the karaoke, and they drank, they gambled all night long until the time to go to the department office, just like the rolling grass. So we can call it another day in the lousy office. We do the lousy work in the office, and perhaps I'm still drunken. And after work, we all went to the karaoke, dining, drinking with colleagues, with beautiful ladies. Does it like your work? It's very boring during the work, and after work we go to the bars and try to get drunk. If you got a beautiful girl of the night, that's terrific, and after all this you feel much boring again. So that's also happened 1,200 years ago in the late Tang period, which is the very corrupt political, and the country is very weak, and it's getting split into a lot of power. So as an intellectual, you get through so many difficulties and you get a position in the central government. Anyhow, there's no meaningful work for you because the country gets weaker and weaker, and the political is so corrupted. It's split into two major political powers, 牛李党争. So the two parties is quite like the Republican and Democratic in US today. So you have no background. You get the position through the imperial exams, and there's no way you can go up, neither to say you want to change the situation or contribute to the countries. So let's do the same thing as my colleagues. We try to spend the day in the office and then go to the karaoke, drink and play games and make joke with beautiful girls. If you have a lucky beautiful girl, you have a lucky day. This is also quite reflected in the poems in this period, and also of course the most famous, the best poet in this period, 杜牧 and Li Shangyin. Today we talked Li Shangyin. So their focus is a bit concentrated on their personal feelings because there's nothing to do in their daytime or through their lifetimes. And when you look onto your personal feeling or stuffs, normally then you went to the drinkings, dinners, beautiful girls. And also for the literature, for the writing skills, they pay more attention to the wording, to the structure of the poems. So they improved a lot, or they make a lot of rules on the writing types of the poems. So that's why after the Tang Dynasty, the Chinese poet is not so prosperous, because by the people of Tang and also some people of the Song Dynasty, they made so many rules on the poets, and also there's so many poets has tried out all kinds of poems. It doesn't matter the context, content, or the writing styles, or the structures of the poem, of the wordings. So they almost try out all the possibilities. And what's more, the country is getting smaller and smaller, and the intellectuals, they have not much immersed in the big country, big events. So they just look at the personal stuffs, and this more constrain their content, and also has more constraint on their poems, development of the poems. So that's all my personal view of the poet. And also Li Shangyin. Li Shangyin could be treated as the most highest poet who make the poem regulations, structures, wordings, the rules, and after him, the majority of the Chinese intellectuals, they follow his style. So that's why he was so admired, adored by the Wenqing, or the intellectuals through the Chinese history. But not by me. He's not my favorite. Anyhow, he's excellent. He's terrific. Okay, that's for today, and I hope you enjoy it. Bye bye.